Okay, this is the video for the inspection for May showers. Today is August 15th, and we're going to go ahead and go through the inspection. Let's do it.
Okay, so this is the diagram for the WDI report. I don't see any signs of any wood destroying insects. You've got some conducive conditions. Heavy foliage at the front left corner and at the front corner kind of between the garage and the front porch. That's just anywhere where plants are in contact with the wall. High soil at the column and high soil at the back of the house on the left side, and that's where the soil has covered the foundation. Now you also have tall grass from the patio to the back left corner. I would just recommend keeping that grass short so you can see the foundation, so there's no wood destroying insects sneaking up there. Right. And then some wood rot at the back right corner at the bottom of the trim. The water cascades off the roof and it hits the trim there, and it wasn't painted, and so it's just got a little wood rot on it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, on the foundation, I just see settlement in the foundation. There are no major issues. So on the zip level, I do a reference point at the front door, I zero it out, then I move it all around the house. Now your high spot is 7/10, that's along the left side and the back left corner. And then your low spot is laundry room at -3/10. So that's 1 inch in the whole foundation. There's no area where I see a drastic rise or a drastic drop. And I do see some cracking in the brick, but it's not, there are no major issues with the cracking. The cracking in the brick is just normal settlement. In the walls in the house, I don't see any cracking. It looks like they have fresh paint. That can hide that can hide cracks in the drywall tape joints, and those are things that will reappear later, and you just sort of want to take care of those on a case-by-case basis. There are a couple doors that are not operating properly, like the front door rubs in the frame. There's another door that rubs in the frame.
But you don't think that's foundation, do you?
It's settlement of the foundation, but it's a normal settlement. I don't see any major issues with the foundation.
Okay. So probably just a slight adjustment on the door.
Yeah, just an adjustment on the door. The grading and drainage, of course, you've got gutters in the front, but no gutters on the sides or in the back. And there are some spots, like there's not a grade that I would say is ideal. What you want to see is a 6-inch drop within the first 10 feet. And you don't really have that anywhere. And at the back, it looks like right here along the back, like if you're staring at the patio to the left side, and then over to the right side, it looks like there's some flat spaces and some places where you might have some standing water. If you can add gutters, that would be a great idea.
Okay.
The roof looks good. Of course, you told me it was a brand new roof, and so that's great. I did see a couple things that I thought needed to be corrected. So
I'm pretty sure by it being a brand new roof, they'll address it.
Well, it looks really good, and I think it's relatively new. But right here at this ridge, this is kind of at the left side, kind of over, I guess, the garage. And this shingle, you can kind of see how it kind of lifts right there. I can actually slide my fingers underneath that. That should be, they should put in another fastener there. That's a place where the wind could get underneath it and either fold it back or blow water up underneath it, which could get on the roof deck or even cause a roof leak. And then there's another place where the flashing is raised, and that's right here. This is at the front.
Left.
And the
that's okay.
I can't remember where this is.
Yeah, we'll find it.
I'll go out and take I'll take a wide shot of the front of the house and circle where that is. But right here, it's definitely at the front. So you can see the flashing is raised right here, and the flashing is raised under here. And it's the same effect. You could get wind blowing rain underneath it that could cause damage to the roof decking. And so that should just be fastened down. The attic space, for the most part, looks good. So there's some low insulation and some missing insulation. The structure of the roof looks good. It's built with a truss system, which is a really good support structure. You've got 12 to 14 inches in most of the attic space, but there are some areas where it's low.
And he's talking about the insulation.
Insulation thickness.
So it's not like perfectly evenly spread like it should be.
Correct.
There's just a few low spots.
Yeah.
And over time, I think it does start to drop down a little bit.
Yeah, it does. And then they had some stuff stored and it's compacted, and there's places where it's moved. Right. And then when I was doing thermal imaging on the inside of the house, so this is right at the attic walkway, And so there's no insulation underneath it. This is right next to the attic door between the HVAC. And there's a spot here with no insulation. And then right here, this is coming down the stairs. This section of the wall right here, I can see a big piece of insulation is missing right there. And then in the living room space, right here next to this air conditioning vent, I can see a big piece of insulation missing right there as well.
That's probably where that was right here in the family room, right?
Yeah, right here. Is that where they did some repairs?
They said they did some repairs from the upstairs back.
Okay, well, yeah, I couldn't find the spot where you were talking about where they did repairs, but that might be it, and they might have forgotten to put the insulation back. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know that that's going to be accessible in the attic space because it is the angle. It's probably just a little bit under the, there's enough room for an air conditioning duct to go through there.
Right.
So exterior walls, let me just show you some of the brick cracks so you can just see. So like right here under this window, this is on the right side of the house. It's pretty small. It kind of goes down and comes over like this, circles around that brick. Small crack. Above the garage door, you've got a crack here and over here, but try to zoom in on that. So it goes through the soldier brick and stair steps its way up here. And then the other side is right here.
Would you say that's more from settling or?
Well, it's from settlement, but it's also over that span of the garage. And that's a normal place where you would get cracking, but that is from settlement.
Right. And I will say this from many other inspections, typically window sills and above the garage where you have the big opening underneath.
Yep.
That's typically a problem spot where you might see some stair step cracking.
Corners of doors and windows and that big garage door span, yeah. The other thing that I see a lot of on the exterior, again, this is just sort of a maintenance kind of thing, is buttress joint issues. And so that's where the hardy plank ends come together. And you can see the crack there. When they build the house, they caulk those openings and then they paint the whole thing and it looks seamless. And then over time, the caulking deteriorates and it splits. And so I have a lot of photos of buttress joint cracks. These are things that are they just require periodic maintenance. You don't want to, if you leave them, you could get wind-driven rain, again, behind your hardy plank.
And then blow it off.
Yeah. I found a few issues with the floors. By the front door, there's a crack in 2 tiles. And then over here in the breakfast area, the linoleum is damaged.
Is damaged. Oh, like torn.
Yeah, surface damage on the linoleum.
Yeah.
The windows, at the master bedroom, you have at the window in the corner that faces the backyard, both lift springs on this window have become detached, which means the window won't stay up. And then in the master bathroom, the master bathroom is that opaque window, and it has it's a double pane window, but the seal has failed, and so you can see the condensation inside the panes right there.
Okay, but I will tell you from previous many inspections, I think that's a common issue where
I mean, it's pretty common, and it can be fixed so that it may have been fixed, to be honest with you, that you can fix it, but if you don't replace it, it will never look like it did when it was new.
Right.
What the heck? Oh, so on the stairs, this is pretty minor. The stair rail is not attached to the wall. That just leaves a place where objects like the straps can get caught in that, and that could, like if you're walking down the stairs and something gets caught in it, you could fall backwards.
Right.
I just point that out for a safety, a safety issue.
Good catch.
Let's see, structural other. So you got some cracks and pits in the driveway and in the walkway. Some of the cracks have been repaired and re-cracked. I would just recommend repairing the cracks as best as possible. That way the water runs across it and not down into it,
Right.
prevent the settlement. The fence issues, you got some damaged boards along the fence in a number of places. Stained concrete at the patio, and then you have some cabinet damage. The upstairs bathroom, The toilet paper roller has been ripped off of one side. And then here in the kitchen, there's just some surface damage to the cabinetry right next to the back door.
Okay.
All right, on electrical, everything looks pretty good in the panel. Not any issues in the panel. You've got aluminum bringing in the service and then copper distributing it throughout the house. That's typical for any home. And then on your I'm sorry?
No, I said I think that's correct.
Yeah, on your branch circuits, which are switches, plugs, fixtures, and that type of thing. One thing I look for is the GFCI protection in all the wet areas. So that's exterior, kitchen, bathroom, laundry room, garage. You got it in all those places, but not the laundry room. And hold on, let me make sure. Yep, just the laundry room. There's 2 outlets in there. And then a couple of loose outlets, a damaged switch plate, a couple of lights that don't work, probably the bulb. The biggest thing is the smoke detectors. Now, the smoke detector, you should have, because you have natural gas, you should have a carbon monoxide detector on each floor, and you should have a smoke detector in each bedroom with one smoke detector on the adjacent area, like the hallway outside.
Right.
So I don't know if there's any carbon monoxide detectors. I can't tell from looking at them if they're dual type. And then the smoke detectors, some of them don't work at all. Some of them they have a very faint sound to them, and like when you press one, you'll hear another one in another room, but it's very faint. But there's 2 upstairs, and the master bedroom, they don't make any sound at all. And then there's another one that is outside the master bedroom. It's very loud and it works really well, but it's not interconnected. So a few issues with smoke detectors, I'd recommend just having somebody evaluate that.
Great.
HVAC, the heater was working, no problems there. Air conditioning was working. So at the majority of the registers, so I take the temperature at the return air, and then all the registers should be 15 to 20 degrees cooler. And for the most part, they were. There were a few areas where they were not. And
Wait, where you said the registers were not blowing at all?
No, they're blowing, but they're not blowing cool enough. So, and that's all the upstairs registers are within the 15 to 20 degree range. Downstairs, the master bathroom. Okay, so the return air is blowing 71 degrees. So that means the minimum I should see is 56 at the register. Okay, so the master bathroom is blowing 64 degrees. The master closet is 74 degrees. The utility room is 65 degrees.
It's like it's not balanced.
And the half bathroom is 61 degrees. Correct. It's not. It's like it's
not
balanced.
How old is the unit?
I can tell you that. Hang on. I can tell you the outside unit. The upstairs unit. I need to look that one up in the database. The outside unit is 2019.
Okay.
The upstairs unit, I have a picture of the label, but I can't figure it out. I don't know the codes on that, so I have to look.
Can I see the label?
Yeah, I'll have to find it real quick, but no problem. It might be a 20.
Don't worry about it. I'll look at it.
Right here.
Okay.
So we have this, it's in the serial number. So you have W2A053. The 2 and the 0.
You don't think it has a...
That may be the date. Maybe a 2020.
And it's 410, right?
No, yeah. R410.
R410.
Yes, R410A is correct. That's the refrigerant type.
Okay.
Now the ductwork is overlapping. And they're in contact in a number of places. There should be a thin piece of insulation in between so it doesn't form condensate between, and that can drip into the ceiling. So basically the air conditioner is performing as intended, but there are some ducts that are not, there are some registers not getting the air they need, and so I think it does need to be balanced. So I'm going to recommend an HVAC.
Yeah, that sounds like a balancing.
Yeah. All right, plumbing. So did you find out about the hot water?
We'll look at it here. Well, we can go over there and look. Was that the only thing, or let's talk about everything else and then we'll go look at that.
Upstairs bathroom, the sink was dripping. Some surface defects on the upstairs tub.
Okay, wait. The sink was dripping underneath the.
No, the faucet was dripping.
Oh, like you couldn't turn it off all the way.
Well, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's off all the way, and it's still dripping.
Okay.
And then the let's see. All right, on the main water supply, the insulation's deteriorating a little bit. The hot water's off at the master sink. The shower door gasket has some damage to it, so there could be some water that escapes under the shower door. And then the master sink at the bathroom. So it has this weird spray where it has these individual like jet sprays. When it hits the sink bottom, it splashes out onto the counter and onto the floor. I just recommend a different type
aerator.
of aerator. Yeah,
an aerator.
A different type of aerator where it just
and
comes
they might have been trying to get one that's energy efficient.
They might have been, yeah. Drains. The drains there were no leaks at any of the drains. There was, at the master sink, the drain stop didn't work. You pull the pin and the pin just comes out.
Right.
That just needs to be reattached. The water heater was working like it should. It is manufactured in 2020, and it's a 40-gallon unit. And everything was working fine on that. I wrote up a couple things, pretty minor stuff. So there's no sediment trap on the gas line. That just prevents water and dirt from going into the unit. It's probably just because whenever they
That's for the
changed
water
it
heater,
out,
right?
I'm sorry?
That's for the water heater.
That's for the water heater, correct.
Okay.
And then on the temperature pressure release, it's not facing the ground. The temperature pressure release is facing sideways. Now, that's on the left side of the house. It's not in a high traffic area, but it should point down because if it ever does release, it's 200-degree water that's coming out at 150 psi. Right. It should point straight down so it doesn't spray anybody. Right. In the garage, the water supply lines are not fully insulated. They should be fully insulated to guard against freeze. And then on the temperature pressure release valve,
on the water heater.
Of the water heater, it appears that there is either an active or a previous leak. So I would ask the sellers about that. So right here next to the valve. Does it look like it was
leaking now, or?
Well, I can see mineral staining, moisture staining down the water heater tank here. I don't see moisture on it presently, but it could have dried. That could be something that happens like when it's in use. And so with this staining that I see on there, I would just recommend asking them about that. If no repairs have been made, I would recommend that a plumber come take a look at it. If repairs have been made, they can probably provide documentation for that. All right, and then kitchen appliances. So I ran the dishwasher. It did, when it drained, it came out here at the air gap, and water came all over the countertop.
And that usually means that something's clogged.
Disconnected or clogged in there, but it leaked into the cabinet below. So there's something going on.
Were we able to dry it up? Or?
I wiped it up, but I mean, it's going to be damp.
Yeah.
It's wood. It absorbed the water. I wiped up the counter. The food waste disposer was working. The range hood exhaust was working. The cooktop and the oven, both were working fine.
I'm going to leave this open so it could dry better.
Okay. The oven was working, but it was a little hot. So I set it for 350. It should be plus or minus 25 degrees. I think it was 384 or something like that. So it was a little hotter than it should have been. And then there's no gas shutoff in the cabinetry. When this house was built, that wasn't required. So the gas shutoff is behind the oven. So in an emergency, you can't really shut the gas off here. You'll have to go out and shut it off at the meter. Right. There's also a big gap behind the oven. So it won't go back anymore because it's in the anti-tip device. And that big gap could just be an inconvenience, dropping things behind the oven.
Right.
The bathroom exhaust fans work everywhere except the utility room. The utility room exhaust does not come on.
Okay, downstairs utility room.
Yeah.
The fan exhaust doesn't work. Okay.
The garage door was working. There's a lock installed with the opener that should be disabled. Now the safety beams are a little too high. They should be within 6 inches of the ground. It didn't reverse when I did the pressure test. It just keeps pushing down. That can be adjusted sometimes. There's some dents in the panel, and there's no light bulb.
Okay.
And then the dryer exhaust, I can't really see it. It's got a flex hose attached to it. I'd recommend removing that flex hose and using a rigid, smooth wall duct, because those ridges in the flex will clog and clog the lint.
And catch the lint.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's everything.
That's everything. I'm going to go take a look at this primary bath. Oh, man.
Well, you didn't talk to the seller?
No. What was it that I was supposed to be asking them about this hot water heater?
Well,
I mean, this hot water
the water supply
turn on.
is just not on for hot.
Okay.
So if you just go to turn the hot on,
Below here, right?
there's no hot water, and is it off for a reason? I don't want to turn the water on.
You know what? I'll call them about that and ask,
Okay.
and we will find that out.
Okay. That sounds good.
I'm not gonna, because I don't want to turn it and then it breaks and now we're.
Yeah, if you turn it on and there's a leak and water shoots all over the place.
Yeah, I don't
that's
want to
not-
flood
that's not
nothing
good.
out. So we'll ask them about it and see if they can get that to perform. Maybe they just turned it off. I don't know. Maybe they never turned it back on.
Yeah, they might have just forgot to turn it back on.
So that was basically it, right?
Yep.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate the
All right.
good inspection as always.
Thank you very much.
This is the video over and out.